Hello there, Charles here, and today I want us to talk about cassava. This is first of its kind actually. In this channel, I've never talked about cassava, but I've heard a few people who have asked me, and a few people who have reached out asking about growing cassava in Uganda. This is the Ugandan farmer, and in this channel, we share farming education, farming related videos only. So, somewhere in Baicho sub county, which is of course in Gulu district, that is in northern Uganda. And as you can see behind me is a cassava plantation, and of course also you might have noticed that there are also some other fruits behind me, because this place that I'm in is a fruits farm. I would put it that way. We have different varieties here. There is avocado, we have pawpaw, there is jackfruits, there is oranges, there is mango, there is banana. There's quite a lot. But of course, I want us to dive a little into cassava farming today. The varieties that you're seeing behind me is locally known as Okonyo Ladak, loosely translated as something that has helped someone who is shifting or who is transferring. But of course, that's the local name. I don't know the English name. And something about this variety, if I may tell you, is it's we do have different things right now, different varieties, but there is always the best. Okonela Dark is one of the best varieties of cassava that people grow right here, especially in Achole region, because of different reasons. One is because within a few months you'd start eating it, and also you can, once you've started eating, you can eat it for 3 good years. So when is the best time to plant it? Let me dive into planting cassava. It is advisable actually that you plant your cassava in the first season. When rain comes, it might rain once, twice, then you just do the planting. So this is how it goes. You need to make sure you're planting your cassava not in a, it's okay, it's not like it's a must, but it's advisable based on experience that you plant your cassava in a, not in a virgin land, not in a fresh land. So you may clear your garden. Maybe you plant, let's say you can plant maize, for example, and then another season you plant something else. Then on that very garden that you've picked maize from, that is when you can bring in your cassava. Reason is, I think it performs well based on experience. That's what most farmers around say, and I think that seems to be true. So, talking about the best time, of course, it's always advisable you do it in the first season. First season in northern Uganda, this is April. Actually, this is first season. Normally starts around March, April. So, depending on how the rain comes back, or when the rain comes back. But what you can always do as a farmer, if you plan to do cassava, prepare your garden, make sure it's ready, and then you can just wait for rain to come once, twice, then you make a hole and then you plant in your cassava. How do you space in your cassava? People do it differently, but it's also advisable you can do 3 meter square. So that is how you do it. So like I always say, you don't have to necessarily do it the way I say, because different farmers tend to do their thing differently. but it's advisable to do it like that. So, and when you're making in your oils, you have to make your oil. Of course, how cassava are planted. You can make your oils 1 feet. 1 feet can be something like this. And also, whenever you're going to this is a cassava stem. When you're going to, of course, if you've ever planted a cassava, you know how we cut. You can cut like this. So instead of cutting it straight like this, you don't do that. You're supposed to cut it a little bit, like this. So that is it about planting. Let me talk about weeding. Of course, we know that in most of the crops, weeds is normally the greatest enemy. You might do everything, prepare your garden, put in money to plant, but if you are lazy or if you don't give attention to weed, you may not really reap anything. So normally, once you've planted your cassava, just give it some few weeks to germinate, and that can be like 2 or 3 weeks to germinate. Once immediately it has germinated, please do your first weeding. And with cassava, in a year at least you can weed it 3 times. So but if you don't do that, it may not really give you the best yield. So it's advisable to do it 3 times, can be like after every 3 months. So that is it. So that is about cassava. And let me give you a little breakdown if you because I whenever I make a video like this, I have people who always reach out because you are probably not in Gulu right now or in northern Uganda at the moment, but of course you have some money, you want to do farming. How much does it cost to produce cassava of 1 acre? Of course, like we know, whenever you want to do farming, first thing you need to have a land. And if you don't have a land, what do? You can lease it. Leasing land, like I always say, can go for 100,000 per season or 200,000 per year. It depends on where you're getting it from. And clearing the garden, always, whether you're going to use human labor with the or you're going to use ox plow or tractor, always they can do 1 acre at 90,000 or 100,000 depending on the location. So let's say first clearing you can do it at 100,000, second clearing 100,000. That is okay. First clearing, then you plow again, so that would be 2 times. That is 200,000 already. And then you can get people who can make the oil for you. Normally that depends on the agreement also, but it can be between 80,000, 70,000 to 80,000 Uganda shilling. But of course, remember, people who are working in your garden, they also probably need to eat. That is, if you really have a budget for that. So let's round it to 100,000 making the oils. How about weeding? How much is weeding? Same way, weeding also, they can do it for you at same amount. Let's say it's 100,000 Uganda shilling. So if you're calculating, we already have 400,000 there. And remember, I said in a year you weed your cassava 3 times. So that would be how much? That would be 300,000 for weeding. And another thing that you need to consider is about with cassava, of course, like I initially told you, you can harvest it for 3 years. So if you're taking good care of it, if you're keeping it very well, so roughly, let's say you're going to need around 700,000 to 1 million Uganda shilling to produce 1 acre of cassava. Now let's come to the money bit of it when you're selling. Cassava is of high demand, at least let me say in northern Uganda, because that is where I'm always focusing on. But of course, I've had a chance to travel to West Nile, to central Uganda, and I can still confirm that people consume cassava very well there. So if in 1 acre you can have 4,000 stems of cassava, that is in 1 acre, and well taken care of, it can yield so good. I'm going to uproot one just to show you in the video so that you can see, because this cassava right here that you're seeing was planted last year around March there. So that ideally means this cassava has been here for 1 year and some few weeks. So let's assume we are going to sell. What I know in northern Uganda, people sell their cassava one stem like this, like one can, people normally sell them at 5,000. But let's try to calculate it that we are maybe going to sell ours at 3,000 maybe. And remember, I told you in 1 acre we have 4,000 stems. So if I'm to pick my calculator and we do the maths, let's assume in 1 acre you have 4,000 stems of cassava. Okay, let me not say 4,000 because I want to assume that. Okay, let's calculate maybe 3,500 stems, that are well and good, and we are selling them at 3,000 per stem, to someone. Of course, that would bring us to, something like around 7 million, 8 million there. So you can imagine that is for 1 acre. So that is it about cassava growing. If you have any other question regarding cassava, let me know and I'll be able to see a way to answer you. Otherwise, my name is Charles and this is the Ugandan Farmer. We're bringing to you farming education. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in our very next video.